My name is Ken Adams. I'm a research professor of quaternary geology and geomorphology here at DRI. I've been here for going on 24 years. There's different parts of the landscape were created by different processes and at different times. And so as a trained geomorphologist, you are able to sort of separate the different parts of the landscape out into its different landforms. For example, an alluvial fan is different than a stream terrace, is different than a glacial moraine, is different than a lake shoreline, like a beach ridge. And all of these landforms have very specific characteristics, from their shape and the types of the size of stones that are found in them, to the types of layering that are found in them. And so with all these different pieces of evidence, you can figure out, is that an alluvial fan or is that a stream terrace? And once you've got to that point, you want to know how old that surface is. Is this an alluvial fan that was deposited in a flash flood last week? Or was it one that was deposited in a flood 10,000 years ago or 50,000 years ago? And so there are a lot of tools that we use to figure out the ages of things. Radiocarbon dating is a major tool, but there are also lots of just different techniques, approaches that we can use in the field and have our answer that day. Soil develops on these surfaces at a rate, or it's a time-dependent process. It's a weathering horizon, which is what soils are on the surface. And you can tell an old soil from a young soil. And so all you need there, it's not high-tech field equipment. I have a shovel and a pick, and I can dig a hole and get an approximate age of a landform. And so once you have figured out sort of where different landforms are located in relation to one another on the landscape, and you sort of figure out, you start to figure out how old each one is and then how they fit together. I try to incorporate aspects of geology like sedimentology. What is that surface composed of? What kind of sediment? Stratigraphy, how is it the layering, what does that tell you about the age and the processes that formed that particular landform? I do use some fancy techniques of figuring all this out, but it's really just looking and having a few simple tools at my disposal, and you can get a general idea, a pretty good idea of the landscape. Just as my wife says, I just wander around in the desert and look at stuff. That's been my job, and I've always loved that.